Data-driven well planning with ProWellPlan. My name is Katrine Eide. I am the Chief of Sales here at ProWellPlan, and this presentation has 3 parts. First, I will go through the problem, then our solution, and then I'll give you a presentation of the software. But first, I would like to ask you a question. How many test wells can a company afford messing up before getting it right? Is it 4 out of 16? 1 in 2? 3 in 9? You will probably say none. Of course you should be doing it right the first time around. But there is more than one case in the history of oil and gas where the same mistake has been done several times. Got stuck 3, 4, 5 times in the same field. They hit the shallow gas unexpectedly again. Too high ROP and encountered loss again. Why is that? The knowledge and experience are available within the company. But let's start from the beginning. What is any operator's goal? It is to drill into the reservoir with a minimum of risk and high performance throughout the operation. And of course a large finding at the end. The planning of the well has been a manual process for decades. It worked for oil and gas pioneers, and you will still reach TD with this approach today. Of course you will. This is how you have always done it. Or you can start planning based on performance. The engineers know the risk is overwhelmingly high for some wells. You probably don't have the documentation to back this up. And to get there, this manual process needs an update. But it's not easy to change a process and a habit that's been dominating for 40 years. So, how to reach these goals and succeed? Well, let's start with the problem. Spreadsheets are a major problem in this process. Spreadsheets contains the updated data, all lessons learned, the documentation of all decisions, and more so. And one of the most important documents in the well planning process, and is not reusable. Spreadsheets cannot be shared among fields or almost not among teams. And they don't add any value to the company's database. And when the spreadsheets are in the center of the well planning process, the work process is hurting. So much time is spent creating spreadsheets, reports, and presentations, and so little value is created in the long run. But this is where we in ProWellPlan comes in. We start at the beginning of the well planning process. And if you want a well plan which is optimized for the goal where all lessons learned are taken into account, you need to start with the data. Which brings me to the topic of this presentation, how to succeed with collaborative well planning, which is covered by 3 steps. It's the data availability, a work process, and implementation part. But let's start with the data availability. First of all, have a platform where the data lives. We have more than 20,000 wellbores readily available for further analysis, where we have combined customers' data with public data. This removes the time-consuming task of finding the data and retyping it into spreadsheets, writing reports, and creating PowerPoints. But there is a major issue of just connecting to the customers or the public database. The data is full of bugs. They have been written during operations. There are typos and straight-out wrong data. Imagine being the engineer looking into your field and you can't recognize any data. You will start distrusting it and then stop using it. The way we in ProWellPlan solves this is to include the Q&A process of the data. While the engineers are working in the platform, they might find some erroneous data. This is fed back to us through the platform and is brought up with the correct decision makers within the customer's internal structure. The company's database is updated with QC data, and our platform is updated with the QC data from our API solutions. Now the engineers have a platform filled with the data they trust and then can use. Number 2, work process for the end user. Now that the platform is filled with data the engineers trust, we need to make sure that we can provide what they need when they need it. This means digging deep into the work of the engineer and analyzing the workflow without spreadsheets, without reports, and without PowerPoints. Then we develop a software that provides the engineers with what they need based on the feedback, collaboration, and input from the end user. And this covers the needs of the end user again. So here you can see a benchmarking feature, how we can display non-productive time events on top of casing designs of historical wells, and you can design your well design for the concept select phase. But what about the overall company strategy, you might ask? And this is where the API and integrations comes into play. Experts need to work in their expert tools. We are not solving the well planning from end to end, but what we do is to connect it all together. With open APIs, we can send and receive data seamlessly. If anything is changed in our platform or in the specialist tool, the data is updated. We fit into the overall strategy of the company. Which brings me to point number 3, implementation. Now we have a well planning platform filled with data from the engineer's trust, a work process following the engineer's needs, without spreadsheet, without creating large reports and PowerPoints. The next obstacle is to change the habit that has been imprinted since the pioneers started drilling for oil and gas decades ago. A solid implementation strategy is just as important as creating a tool that solves the engineer's problems. Acceptance from the engineers has not been an issue. They see the value of searching through thousands of data points, share experience and analysis with their team, and designing new wells in minutes. The success of implementation of a new habit takes support from management, a structured process, training of stakeholders and corporate KPIs. In addition to this and more, prowellplan is bringing together subsurface drilling and wells, petrophysicists and other departments, and creating a digital community within the platform. This community is spreading success stories throughout the organization, from early risk assessment, well-documented budget estimates pre-Digi2, and creation of multiple new designs for the concept select phase, with automated input for reports and technical calculations. This was just a brief introduction to how implementation will succeed. Now I would like to show you the platform. So please lean back and enjoy. Thank you. With all the data available in one platform, you are able to filter down for the information that you need, either during well planning to optimize your well design, or during operations if you need to know if you have ever drilled this far before without setting casing. You get up to the statistical view both in general and on productive time. You can see the NPT events on top of the casing designs or all other information that you need to know. Including here is the benchmarking tool. And now you look into the machine learning model, where we can guide the engineers to find similarities in well paths. Now it's important to store all your analyses and make them available for the rest of your team and the rest of the company. So you add your selection and then you describe everything that you do. You can set your goals, you will set your conclusion based on your analysis, and then you can give your team any clues for any further work needed to be done. And then you can get in your specialist and ask them for input. And then these are reusable. You will store them, save them, and then you can either share them or you can ask your teammates for their experience, and then you can use them. Here we are in the designer module. You can now make changes to your section, geology, pressure, well path, and then you can bring up other designs and compare them straight here in the platform. Or of course you can bring up your offset wells to see what's been done before. So this is unique for your concept select phase. There you can sit in meetings, you can have a discussion around these tools, around the designs, and then you can make updates and then go straight into the operational tab and then run all technical calculations. Then you will get the full updated risk matrix, and all the technical calculations is up to date based on the changes that you've done. This saves hours, and it's done in minutes to create those new designs. Thank you.